WWOS Tigers dudded, conceded by the NRL today that the call from the bunker to give that penalty was wrong. Gus, on social media, when it all unfolded yesterday, you watched it back again. You tweeted, "I am speechless. I am without speech." We need some words from you tonight, though.
I have nothing. I'm speechless. I've seen some bad beats in my time, but that rivals anything that I've ever seen in sport anywhere. That was just ridiculous.
What was the most ridiculous part for you?
Look, forget about the incident itself, the ruling, was it a penalty, wasn't it a penalty, should he be challenged or not be challenged. We're going to have moments of this, and our game is going to get worse at this, over everything I've been saying over the last 20 years, that we're getting more and more and more reliance on technology and the bunker, and the philosophy from those who run the referees and tell them how they should handle certain situations is meant that referees have relied more and more and more on technology rather than making a decision themselves. The referee should have had that matter in hand, just blown full time. No one would have complained. We move on. The West Tigers had a brilliant win. They won. That's all over. But because the referees are petrified, and I mean petrified, of being singled out for criticism, remember that the bunker is not there just for the benefit. The bunker is there to protect referees. That's its primary objective. That's why there is a section of the referees, and not all referees, there is a section of referees that have been pushing the management of our game to more and more use and more importance and whatever. There is also a core of referees that are totally against the whole philosophy of it, that want to be left to be making the decision on themselves. And what you had was a referee here says, well, I'm just going to dump this up to the bunker. I don't, whatever happens, he's called a challenge. Well, he can't challenge it. There wasn't nothing to challenge. He should have just ruled full time. And then the bunker, the theory behind the bunker is now you go to a new set of rules. You go to a new set of interpretations. It's not the rule book. Now it's what can I technically prove so that no one ever can come back and criticise the decision? All right? Can I technically be right? And some of the rules they make around obstructions and different things that they do, high think shots and all that, are so pedantic, right? But technically they say they can justify it, all right? And on this occasion, technically they couldn't justify the penalty either.
Gus, you said something really interesting there, that are all the referees not on the same page? Is that
100%. 100%.
You can take
that to the bank. There is a core group of referees that virtually dominate the whole referee procedures that have been involved in increasing the use of technology over the years, and they're all getting the major games all the time. But there is another rest of the referees that feel as though their progression or that their development as referees is being pinged upon because they are instructed on how to handle every situation, what to say, when to go to the bunker, when to do this, when to do that. And they don't think it's allowing the referees to develop as people, nor is the game developing with it. Our game is beholding to referee procedures. Our game is beholding to technology. There is so much really good football being played, but we keep pulling it up for pedantic investigations, with a magnifying glass to see if we can find something wrong with it.
Gal, before we get your thoughts on this, let's just hear from the NRL's head of football, Graham Eddersley, speaking earlier today about the incident in Townsville.
In this particular case, the referee blows the whistle after he's been told by the timekeeper that time has expired. So he blows the whistle to stop play. But that's not the end of the game. That first whistle is not the full-time whistle. That's a whistle to stop play. So we're comfortable that the challenge, the captain's challenge, was allowable in those circumstances. But on review this morning, we just don't believe there was enough in that to award a penalty.
What were they challenging?
So exactly. The referee lost control of that situation. He totally lost control. He blew the whistle, and then as soon as Chad Townsend went to him and said, he went, "Oh, thank God I can get out of this. I can send it to the bunker, and it's not my decision." He totally lost control. If he had the kahunas about him, he should have just ended the game there. He blew the whistle, played stop, end the game there. And I don't know what you're talking about, Gus, as far as what you know about the referees, what you don't. I don't know about that. But that referee, in my opinion, lost control of that situation last night, and he just wanted to get rid of the decision so he didn't have to make it.
All right, let's look at the incident itself. How many times do we have escort situations? How many bombs are kicked in a game? 40? 40 in a game? Each side might kick 20, 15 or 20. And every time there is an escort situation, some they penalise, some they don't. Does that mean now that if the man catches the ball, we can challenge the decision and go back and have a review whether or not there was a bump in the night with the escort?
Gussie, this isn't a perfect example, and I've said it before. we should get rid of the bunker and bring it in for try-scoring situations only. That's the only time we should use the bunker.
Kyle Felt did that deliberately. So that was gamesmanship.
So what? Can you blame him for that?
No,
I don't blame him.
Because that's what the game is. And
100%.
And what's happened with the game is the gamesmanship has become even more and more prevalent. There are wingers everywhere running into the back of escorts, falling down, knowing that they'll get a penalty.
But that escort there...
And everyone says, we've got to stop faking.
At no time did he look over his shoulder to try and find
he ran into him.
And ran for the ball.
He ran into him.
Absolutely.
He was getting nowhere near the ball.
That's why the bunker got it wrong.
He knew the kick had gone long. That's why he ran into it. But there are wingers right throughout the competition. There are wingers right throughout the competition when they're chasing bombs. If they know they're not going to get there, they'll just run into the back of old mate there and fall down.
Throw the arms out.
And throw the arms out and see what referee says. Now, sometimes they've got to get up and get back in their position because the referee has a feel for it. But sometimes the referee gives a penalty. What happens is when it goes to the bunker, he can't have discretion. He can't have a feel for a game. Right? He can't then decide whether or not it was gamesmanship or all it is technically play a bump, fall over. That's got to be a penalty.
That's what I'm saying, guys.
And all they're saying is, well...
Why isn't it only there for tries? 2 years ago, we tried to speed the game by going 6 to go, 6 to go, 6 to go. Now, all of a sudden, we're stopping all the time for captain's challenges, HIAs. The game is now slower than it's ever been. It's slower than when I was playing, I'm telling you. The games now go for around 2 hours, roughly 2 hours, which means the players are on the field longer. The game is slower.
Then there was a timekeeping issue that we ended up with 1 second left on the clock after the conversion.
So how does that work?
And I've been saying for years and years, when the ball goes out of the play, we should stop the clock. But this business that will give them 90 seconds of free time to kick the ball, right? And Adam Dewey was trying to wear the clock down. He thought he'd worn it right down. Had he kicked the goal, the game's over. But he thought he'd worn it right down. But I'm saying, why do we give them 90 seconds to kick the goal? Why do we take that out of the viewing time of the public? There was a game that I watched yesterday. There was 11 tries and a penalty goal. There's 16 and a half minutes taken out of the game.
So 5 seconds, 4 seconds,
3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Someone's pushed the button and said, we'll give them a kick-off.
How does that work?
Now, if that had have ended time and Dewey turned around and just waved his hands, no one would have complained. No. The time was up. Dewey should have taken another couple of seconds and just done it. That'll be in his memory block for every time. But if you really want to get more time in the game, the minute he scored the try, that's when it's over.
Well, Valentine Holmes was also across the line before he kicked the ball. So that's the next issue.
So this is the latest revelation.
Has just reported that.
Yes. So the latest revelation.
I've always wondered that, though, to be honest, because it happens all the time.
So you're watching where he's kicking from. So he's meant to be whole body behind the line, feet behind the line.
So, but he's effectively in front of the line. So he's offside.
So that's a penalty.
Apparently it is a penalty. But I've got to say, I've seen that many times over the years when they're going for a short kick-off. They always go in front of the line to try and make sure it goes short. So I've seen that over and over again, but technically the bunker should have seen that. It should have been a penalty.
So that's only going to make the Tigers angrier. Denny, the thoughts of, and we know they're still looking at their legal options, is it a reality?
I don't think so. I think the Tigers are desperately trying to show to their fans who have been absolutely battered by this and other dramas they've had that they're standing up for them. But in reality, I don't think they've got a leg to stand on. I think it would be poor form actually from the Tigers to try and challenge. I mean, are we going to challenge knock-ons at scrums next?
You can't open that Pandora.
Has it ever happened in history where
maybe in AFL or something?
AFL have been told it has happened, but in the rugby league, has it ever happened where a team has had points taken off and another team given them? I can't imagine it would ever.
You know who should be challenging? The teams in the top 4.
Well, that's the problem, because it's going to change a whole lot of things. Obviously the Tigers, fair enough, they don't get a win. They've struggled to get a win for a long time. It boosts spirits there, but it's going to affect the top 4, how that finishes.
That's probably more the issue.
Yeah, that's probably the bigger issue. That's going to affect the whole competition.